I'm just all about gambling, if I'm being honest. I'm literally at the point where whenever I'm in the office, I'm sitting there and I'm typing on my computer, I whisper to myself once a day, God, I can't wait for football. And I look up and look around as if someone else said that, just so I can try to peek and try to engage in a conversation with someone who clearly just wants to do the work. And then after we make eye contact, I talk to them for about like 15 minutes and like, okay, cool. Thank you. Bye. So that's basically why I'm making this show. In this video, I'm just going to be covering two games. We have the Chiefs, the Ravens on this Thursday. Then on Friday, we have Eagles, Packers. So let's hop into the Chiefs, Ravens because they're first, and I'm a timeline order type of guy. Starting off with Ravens at Chiefs. Chiefs are -3. Over-under is now 46.5. This has been just like that 3 line I've been tracking for a couple weeks now because obviously I'm bored. I'm just opening up DraftKings and looking at the lines, or FanDuel. Whoever wants me can have me. I'm desperate. I'm like a girl who's about to go to prom, but no one really wants to go with me. But I think I would be a really, really fun date. Now, with that being said, the Chiefs have been fluttering from like pointing back from 2.5 to 3 to 2.5 to 3 to 2.5 and 3. So I don't really know where they're going to settle. My thoughts are that the Chiefs have only got better and they just won a Super Bowl. Ravens have gotten worse. So I'm going to try to keep it as simple as that as I'm going through the game. But with that being said, the Chiefs just didn't have anyone to catch the ball last year. Obviously, they have Travis Kelce. That's very cool, but they had no wide receivers. This year, okay, they had Rashid Rice, but I don't really know about him. But this year, they have Xavier Worthy, who's really, really fast. I'm really, really fast too, so I'd like to see him try to beat me in a race. He hasn't yet, by the way. Then they also have Hollywood Brown, who's short, like me. I'm not tall, but he is still taller than me and in the NFL, and also probably faster than me, just like Xavier Worthy is, but I've never raced it too, so we can't prove it. With that being said, they actually can catch the ball. Hollywood Brown's not going to be in this game, so can't really factor him in there. But overall, I think that their receiving core has just improved on in the offseason, which is not a hot take. Anyone with a pulse is going to tell you that. So if you didn't know that, now you do know that. And their line is just one of the best in the NFL, and no one really seems to talk about it just because Patrick Mahomes is so good. But when you have one of the best lines and the best quarterback in the NFL, and now you have people who can catch a football, I'm no mathematician. I've never coached football either, so there are two things I'm not. But it just kind of makes sense that this team's going to be better than it was last year. Now, when we look at Baltimore, they lost a couple key players when it comes to both sides of the line, but they did add Derrick Henry, which is cool and all. Thank God. Miami, I'm betting on Miami right now. I'm filming this on the Saturday when they're playing Miami at Florida, and my college betting started off super, super hot, and they lost 2. I lost 3. I lost 3 because someone just didn't kick an extra point. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Lost by a half point. But now we have, is it 23? It's not 23 to 10. Is it 23 to 10? Oh my God, it's 23 to 10. Florida. Let's go. 23 to 10 Miami. Let's go. That's huge. Now back to the game at hand. The Baltimore Ravens did add Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's cool. I can just see him in the Ravens uniform. I think everyone can because he's just tough looking. He's just tough looking. I'm not tough looking at all. When I go to a restaurant, they go, oh, Winnie Hut Jr.'s is over there, and then I feel really bad about myself. But that's fine. I do belong in Winnie Hut Jr.'s if I'm being honest with everyone. I am very soft.
I think you'd be more comfortable over at that place.
Weenie Hut Juniors!
But I just don't think that Derrick Henry being there is going to make up for their line decreasing and getting worse. So thinking about the game as I'm handicapping it, right, it's at -3 right now. I like to handicap the aspects of the game that not any other handicappers do. And yeah, sure, I'm following what the other sharps do, but it doesn't really correlate to my system. So kind of here's a breakdown of my system. Travis Kelce's dating Taylor Swift. I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift person. My girlfriend's a big Taylor Swift fan. I like her music. I think her music's pretty cool. And I think it's cool that he's dating her to be like, yeah, I'm dating a billionaire. What are you doing? So I respect that. And his brother's also Jason Kelce. So we're going to give the Chiefs a full point for that. The next thing is that Derrick Henry could beat me in a fight. And that makes me scared. So I'm going to give a half a point to the team because there's a lot of people out there who can beat me up and scare me. But then on the other hand, there's not a lot of people out there who are dating billionaires. So that's kind of where the difference is coming up from. Also, the fact that Patrick Mahomes is really, really good at football. If you go Google it, I couldn't really figure out the Google. Sometimes I'm Google challenged. Patrick Mahomes under 3 against the spread. I'm just taking it no matter what. I don't care who they're playing. I just auto lock bam. So with all I said, the Chiefs, they're just a better team than the Ravens. I don't know why the public's all over the Ravens. I think it might just be because of Derrick Henry. So that's why I'm gonna go with the Chiefs because it's just like, why not? There's a motorcycle guy outside. I wonder if he liked my pick. Probably didn't, but that's fine. I bet he's probably in the category of people who can beat me up. Definitely not in the category who's dating a billionaire knowing his bike. Next game that we have is in Brazil. I know what you're thinking, oh, football in Brazil, that makes sense. No, I don't like it. I hate it, and it drives me up a wall because I'm an Eagles fan, and you're just gonna have the week 1 game in Brazil, like, I don't understand it. I mean, I'm not even a huge fan of the London games, but now we're playing all the way down in Brazil. That's just a ton of travel time. That's more than going to either of the coasts. And it also doesn't make sense since Philadelphia is kind of in the northern region, but Green Bay is way up there. I can't even tell you where Green Bay is in a map because I don't look above Boston. I really hope that they're above Boston. And if they're not, that's going to be very, very embarrassing. So I should really pull up a map, but I need a map like Dora the Explorer, but we'll get to her later. Now, that being said, the Eagles open up -2.5. The over-under is 48.5. I'm a big line guy. I like having the best line I possibly can in Madden when I used to play like my fantasy team or whatever it was called, Ultimate Team. No, when I used to do Dynasty and you had the draft, I would just draft the top halfback and then the rest I would just max out the line as big as I can get them. So that's my main focus whenever I'm thinking about things. I like the football game. It's won in the trenches, right? And the Eagles O-line and D-line are the top 5 in the NFL. I think that the Packers, I think their D-line is definitely better than the O-line. Their D-line, I think, is top 11. Their O-line, I think, is like 14. Kind of mid-tier, but it's definitely a huge, huge difference. And I think that our O-line is just going to feast whatever rush that Green Bay is going to try to put on us. Now, here's the thing. Everyone just has a bad taste from the Eagles just because of last year. Their team, they're doing really, really good. I knew they weren't going to be that good because they were just getting wins that were just beyond lucky. But they collapsed kind of like me playing Jenga in a social setting where I'm already nervous enough to be there, so I just have some type of constant shake. I mean, obviously I'm nervous in a social setting. I'm making a video about sports gambling. I just don't fit in with society. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out like the Jenga block. Obviously, it never works and the whole thing falls. I'm also terrible at operation. Whenever I go and do the thing, I've never shaken so much, and I do feel bad for the operation guy. I mean, his body got mimicked to thousands upon thousands of people throughout the years, and now everyone's just constantly stabbing tweezers into his body, and then he has to get electrocuted at the same time. Like, I feel bad for him. I don't know if that was like his choice or if he's a real person, but if you're out there, respect. But anyway, the Eagles did hire Kellen Moore, and that's definitely going to give their offense a boost. At least I hope it gives their offense a boost. I swear, if they start playing the game and all they are doing is just throwing screen passes again, I'm going to lose my absolute mind because that was just the entire Eagles just, all right, let's run verticals. Okay, let's do a screen pass. Oh, that didn't work. I wonder why. And when they ran the football last year, they won the games, and then they stopped running the football, and then they lost the games, and I'm wondering what's the difference. The Eagles also did sign Saquon Barkley. It's definitely going to give their run game a boost for sure. I just hope that they actually just pound the rock. Now, I know the other side of the argument where it's like, well, Green Bay has really, really good receivers. Jordan Love is going to be a sick quarterback from years to come, which is going to give the Bears a nightmare, but now the Bears have Caleb Williams, so is it going to matter? I don't really know. I'm not an expert. The Packers receiving core is pretty good. Do we have anyone to cover them? No, but it doesn't matter. Our D-line is just going to rush him so hard that I hope that, yeah, they're obviously going to get some big chunk plays and just toss them down the field and they're going to be open, but that's fine. I'm mentally preparing myself for that. I do think that it is more important that our line is way better than our secondary, so that's a huge factor. Now, time to handicap the game the way I like to do it, not like anyone else. So thinking about that this game is Brazil, that's a key factor. What is known in Brazil, right? What are they known for? Is it soccer? Maybe, yeah, sure. Is it some type of food? Yeah, I don't really know. I've never been to Brazil, but we all know what Brazil's actually known for, and that's BBLs. With that being said, you could look at Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. They squat a ton of weight, which kind of like makes it the effect that they might have a BBL, which I think in Brazil is going to give them a massive, massive advantage. So I'm going to give a point in their favor. So right now, Eagles were -3, and now in my books, they're -4. Now, the Eagles did lose Jason Kelce, but I think they did replace Jurgens. Isn't as good as Jason Kelce, but their line is still good that I'm just giving them like a little bit of a decrease. And honestly, it's really just more of a leadership decrease. I'm going to decrease the Eagles by 1/4 of a point. Right now, they're at 3.75 points is what I'm having them out. Now, on the other hand, Green Bay, their colors are green and yellow. You know whose other colors are green and yellow? Brazil. So that's going to give them a favor because they're just going to feel at home. Yeah, the Eagles are green, but they're not the right type of green, but I bleed green, make no mistake. So I'm going to give another 1/4 point back to the Packers. So I'm having this line about 3.5. With that being said though, Eagles fly, Packers don't fly. I don't even know what a Packer is, but I'm pretty, oh my God, there's a bird outside. You can't time it up like that. I mean, you can't see that, but I did. But Eagles fly, and now you're flying down to another country. Birds fly south. Do eagles fly south? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a bird expert, but if you need anyone in bird law, you can always call Charlie Kelly, who's also in the Eagles. Wow, there's just so much birds going on. I think I'm just gonna have to give a full point to the birds themselves. So I'm really projecting them at 4.5, which obviously beats their current -3. I did buy in on this line early and got them at -1.5 right before it shot up to 2.5, and now it's kind of tinkering from like 2.5 to 3, 2.5 and 3. By the time that game goes live, I think it'll be at 3. Okay, and then last one here that I have is a total. So over under 48.5. Now I'm just thinking about this pretty easy, right? Week 1, it's a primetime game. Primetime games, I feel like you always just bet the under at the beginning of the season, just because the public's like, oh, I need to bet something on this. They might not have a side, so then they try to drive up the over. And also, I don't know why, primetime games, the unders just hit at a better rate. Don't ask me, I'm not a statistician. We all know I'm not a statistician at this point. Also, these players are just doing a ton of travel. I mean, going to Brazil is like 10 plus hours, I think, from either destination. So with that being said, it's not like you're doing like a 6 hours flight cross country, but I think they might be in similar time zones. So that's definitely gonna help. And then the day, like 10 hours on a plane, I get cranky when it's like past 3.5 hours on a plane. So I'd have to imagine at least 5% of the team doesn't like flying. I'm sure a lot of them don't want to fly down there. If we're just picturing 10% of both teams are then cranky, they might not just play as well. Let's just be honest. I don't like flying on planes. They might not too. And they might not want to do their job as well. Now, I think the trends for totals international is actually favors the over a lot more. When I was thinking about the international play, I thought that you just slam the under no matter what, but it actually turns out that it's maybe like 51% of the over actually wins. I think because it's in London and it's like might be like a little bit dreary. That's dreary? I don't know if I'm saying that right. But I think just the food also might just slow them down a little bit. But I think in Brazil, sun's going to be out, vibes are going to be there, even though they're not playing in the U.S. You know, it's a big U.S. thing. People are going to be happy, smiling, walking around, drinking beer. That's all I can ever ask for. But in the end of the day, we got to handicap this. Right now, it's at 48.5. Now, just think about this logically, right? Green Bay's here. Philadelphia's probably like around here. Brazil is down here. We can both tell that from both of the cities where these teams play, it's down south. We're looking at the ticket money differential as well. 22% of the tickets are on the under, while 30% of the money's on the under. So you have an 8% differential right there. Differential is a big word for me, and I had to sound it out 3 times, but I cut them all so you never knew. So given the percent differential, then we have the 2 cities right here. Bring out the map. Doors can tell us that's down. What's another word for down? Under. So that's why I'm going to be taking the under in this. I think the fact that it's 2 teams traveling 10 plus hours, I'm going to do 2 points down from the under. So we're going to have it at 46.5. Now, I wouldn't mind if it's a really high scoring game. That would be cool. But I also would rather have my bet hit and the Eagles win. So hopefully it's just an under where the Packers just don't score anything and then the Eagles score 40 points. That would be ideal. So ideally it would be 40. Honestly, ideally it would be 45-0, the under hits, and then I'm a happy camper. To recap the bets, we're gonna go with the Chiefs -3 at home against the Ravens. Then we're gonna go with the Eagles at -2.5 to 3 at Brazil. So kind of like a neutral site, supposed to be a home game. Usually I never back favorites, but I think they're just like such short favorites that they're just tempting. I'm just dancing. I'm just a little bit salivating about it. And then we're also gonna hit the under in the Eagles game, under 48.5. Good luck to my bets. If I go 0-3, I will be sad. And then I hope that you don't go 0-3. Again, am I a professional bettor? No. Do I know what I'm talking about? No. Did I use Door the Explorer to tell you to take the under? Yes. So when you're making your picks, just think about that. Get ready for the full recap coming.